we don't have a name yet, I guess, or this is potentially the Unmarketable Film Photography Podcast, or just unnamed or untitled. I'm
Soon to
Jamie
be
Malden.
titled.
Yeah.
The show is about nothing.
I'm Jamie Maldonado. I'm a photographer in East Texas, opening a community darkroom in Tyler, Texas, about to open.
And I'm Yvonne Hansen. I run a small YouTube channel. I'm a photographer from Vancouver, British Columbia, specialize in film photography, education type content.
We are trying this out as a bit of an experiment just to see what happens, and chat photography and film photography, and I'll edit this up and we'll see what happens. This could be like our kind of pilot, like instead of just introduction, and then it's like maybe we'll figure out what we do.
Cool. It's cool to meet you.
Yeah.
I feel like we've been chatting online for a long time, and
Oh,
this is
yeah.
our first time actually like chatting one-on-one.
Yeah, this is really cool.
The topic that I think you were thinking about talking about was why do we bother talking about this anyway when there
Yeah.
are so many photography podcasts out there? What more can we add to the genre?
And I think part of it's just because of the state of the industry. Like there's just not, it's still not assured survival. And a lot of people still ask, oh, they still make film, or they still develop that, or whatever. And at the end of the day, it's just photography. But you talk about photography and people assume digital now. And it's like, well, I'm talking about like a little corner of the medium. And then it's just fun to talk about the toys, I guess.
Yeah, that is like, I have wandering eyes when it comes to writing video essays.
Oh, yeah.
I write this big, like, thought out video essay, and then some new toy will come along, and I'm like, but that, we could talk about that. It'd be way easier.
Oh, yeah.
And like film photography is rife with that. I feel like it's also rife with the kind of people who are more interested in the toys than in the actual like product art side of things.
Oh, yeah.
So it's an interesting kind of field to navigate when we're talking about like film photography education and what it means to be like a film photography content creator.
Yeah. If film photography were everything, if it were the dominant form still, talking about it would be kind of silly, but I don't know. Like, I feel like, are there painting podcasts? I'm assuming they're a painting podcast,
It
but
must be.
yeah, I've never. Oh, here's me going half cocked on something I haven't researched. As review and advertising based as everything is, especially YouTube, I think it works to have like film photography, but also we'll talk about other stuff.
That was the thing. Yeah, like recently I've been trying out this new kind of form of short where it's talking more about like maybe some of the philosophical or like
Yeah.
even just like trend cycle aspects of photography. And they've been really popular. And I feel like the
Cool.
reason why is because so much photography content is just based around the gear and the tools,
Hmm.
etc. It's interesting that you make the parallel with paintings because I feel like a lot of art YouTube is also just like art supplies and like,
Oh, yeah.
testing this new paint or testing the world's pinkest pink or like this new brush and not actually talking about like the philosophy of art making.
Yeah.
Maybe because it's something that's so personal to each person that it feels really challenging to talk about it.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of kind of interesting work to be done endeavoring to talk about it.
Oh, yeah. I think so too. And part of my thing with I try to do on YouTube, at least when I'm not building a darkroom and completely neglecting YouTube, I'll like say, oh, this is a review of this and this film or camera, but then I like try to talk about it into or get into talking about what was my thought process behind this photo or behind this shoot or whatever. So I kind of like consider it the Trojan horse approach. It's like Kodak Gold. Oh, yeah. Have you ever thought about how we do this thing?
I definitely have used that approach in my content before too. It's like, okay, the first half of this video, we're going to talk about all of the specs of the film, and then we're going to talk about my experiences, and now we're going to talk about like the entire history behind this company and how this company has influenced art making and how the legacy of this company.
Oh, yeah.
It's only
Yeah.
the 20-minute video, but only
Oh,
the
yeah.
first 5 minutes are actually gear.
Yeah. It's kind of like the Seinfeld or Simpsons approach. Have you ever watched those shows much?
I did, yeah. I got
Yeah.
COVID one time and watched like all of Seinfeld in a week.
And how I haven't done it in a week, but I've watched all of it. But
I wouldn't
I,
recommend it.
no, that's
I recommend the show, but not
yeah,
all in one week. You'll start
yeah.
talking like Jerry.
Oh, yeah. What's the deal with this? Um,
Everything is going to be a problem. You're
oh,
going to come
wow.
home and you're going to have a bunch of problems.
And I'll remember stuff because I pretty much grew up on Seinfeld. It was like my entire teens, basically. And you'll think about, oh, that thing that happened on Seinfeld, which episode was it? and you'll realize, oh, that was also this other episode. And there's so many things that like it will start in one point and just end in another one completely. So it's the Seinfeld podcast about nothing.
I remember noticing that about like Family Guy, how in like one 30-minute episode it would go from like here's the premise, and then by the end of it you're like, wait, was this the same episode I was just watching? But
Yeah.
it's because there's so many like tangents that all like
Oh
loop
yeah.
back in this nice little flower. So it'd be
Yeah.
nice. It'd be nice to be able to do something like that with a photography podcast.
Yeah.
Trick people by thinking we're going to talk about Harmon Phoenix and then
Oh
wind up
yeah.
talking about like the philosophy of capturing images.
Yeah. What is our potential policy on cursing?
Oh, I think probably go for it. And if we need to bleep it out, then we can. But
Okay.
I'd rather
Yeah.
do that than like say stupid YouTube words um,
Yeah.
instead
Gosh
of
darn
cursing.
it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Although I it doesn't matter to me, but
Okay. I just wanted to be sure because before I said anything, it's like, oh, I was about to say like bullshit or something. So I'm like, okay, what do I say? Do I?
say bullshit.
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay, cool. Bullshit. I don't remember what else I was going to say other than that now, but I feel like people get started and then they don't really know what to talk about. So they have to default to like industry news, which is now covered pretty well, I think. Or they go off of like a half-cocked rant on something they don't understand. I'm cool with half-cocked rants, but I hope to check them for accuracy before posting them. Let's say somebody like complaining about film prices. It's like, well, you don't know how the distribution system works at all. And like
Yeah.
Eastman Kodak doesn't set their prices. It's Kodak Alaris. And so if you go on and on about how the people in Rochester are evil and just want to take your money, then you don't know anything about the Kodak retirement pensions and bankruptcy and all that kind of stuff. And so you're just blaming these.
Which actually would
Yeah. Huh?
be a very interesting like historical episode as far as like well researched things go. That's
Oh
like one of
yeah.
my favorite kind of aspects of deep film photography
Oh
lore
yeah.
is learning about how all the companies kind of kiss behind the scenes
Oh
and what
yeah.
goes on.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that would be cool. Like the oddity of Fuji putting out Kodak film and how yeah, it's
Yeah.
just yeah.
Although there's news on Fuji, I
Oh.
don't know if you
Oh,
saw the update, but they might actually be back in production, which is
oh,
kind of
cool.
cool.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
so confusing because like they might be in back in production, but then they say Superior 200 is discontinued and it's so confusing. And I want them to be
Yeah, I
back.
think it's
Yeah.
just Fuji Color. Like it's
Yeah.
only Fuji Color 200. But the Japanese company like started taking orders again.
Oh, okay.
But only in Japan, only for the domestic market. But they're seeing rolls of made in Japan with expiry dates of 2025 and later.
Oh, okay.
Um, so unless it was like made in a fridge and the expiry date is a little bit fudged, then it might actually be back up and running, but only for the domestic market. Um,
Wow.
I'll let
Uh,
you know because I'm going to go to
yeah.
Japan. I'm going to buy as
Oh,
much Fuji as
oh
I
man.
possibly can.
I might have to send you some
So,
money.
I'll, yeah. I'll bring you back some. I would absolutely love
Okay,
to. I
awesome.
have like a whole film, like a lead film bag.
Oh wow.
So I'm just gonna fill it
Oh
with
yeah.
as much
Oh,
film as I
that's
can.
fun. Yeah. Oh, that's gonna be cool. And I'm assuming you're recording that and everything.
Oh yeah, hopefully. I mean, there's different kind of laws in Japan
Oh yeah.
about filming in public. So
Oh
I don't
yeah.
think that they have the same
Ooh.
like if you're in a public
Oh yeah.
place, then you can film people or whatever,
Yeah.
as like North America. A lot of North American countries have.
Yeah.
So I'm curious about whether or not people will just look the other way because I'm obviously a tourist, or if I'll just
Yeah.
get
That's a
in
good
trouble for
question. That's
yeah,
that's
like I
it.
feel like I haven't seen street photography videos really, like POV videos.
Yeah.
And like
You
that would be the place. Like
that
Tokyo
would
would be
oh
bomb for
wow.
street photography.
Yeah, that would be yeah. I'm very curious to find out about that actually. Because I've
I
even
mean,
like
trial by fire.
yeah,
I'll
yeah, that
I'll
would be
know pretty
interesting.
quick.
Oh, we were talking about Fuji, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the I guess we were doing that thing that you were just sort of saying not to do where we default to photography news.
Oh yeah.
But the investigative side of photography news where it's not there's no press releases that say
Yeah.
this. We have to like piece this together through context clues
Oh
of
yeah.
what Fuji's been communicating.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that seems like it's possible that they're back in production, but I don't
Yeah.
think they'll ever scale back up.
Yeah. There's the whole speaking of the rumor side of things, the Fujifilm freezer. Have you heard that one?
heard that one. That was on my
Yeah.
iceberg
Oh
of
yeah, I was about to ask if that was on
photography
the yeah.
iceberg.
Yeah. I was like, wait a second, that seems like an iceberg thing. Like that's the
Definitely was. Yeah, that all of their stuff is just coming from the freezer from like
yeah.
2020 or
I want to
2019 even.
yeah, I want to go in that freezer. Just come out with like what do they call it, the coffin or whatever of a film. Just like, okay, guys, I'm set. That's all the Pro V I ever need.
30-second shopping spree, just everything you can
Yeah.
grab.
Get a forklift. Like I got the Velvia
I'm assuming
100.
it's like fucking 600-ton bulk rolls.
Yeah, yeah.
Just imagining like catacombs of those.
And the thing is, like, you were talking about context clues. I think you can figure out, it's like, well, who makes color film in America? Like the Lomo color negative films are probably like the off Kodak rolls, like the stuff that goes into disposable cameras gets cut up, and lomography gets, master rolls, and they have finishing equipment. And if you read enough, you found out that they bought some stuff from the old Ferrania factory. So if you compare their
Yeah,
35,
Harman
yeah.
did too, actually.
Oh yeah, if you
Harman
compare,
bought their cassette, or sorry,
oh,
the cassette
oh no.
manufacturing
Oh, okay,
from
cool.
Ferrania.
And I think lomography got some or parts of that or something like that. I don't know exactly where lomography keeps that, but if you look at lomography's 35 millimeter cassettes, they're metal ones, and compare them to old Ferrania ones, they look the same.
Wait a minute. Okay, hang on. One second.
Okay.
I happen to have, just examining. Where is this one made? Is this in Germany? So the color negative, is that made in America?
Okay, so Lomo color negative, the CN, like their normal color negative, I think they're kind of vague about it, but I think it's all made in America. And if you look at Lomo 100, it's very close to Kodak Gold. But when you get Gold 200, Gold 120, the base is real thin. But the thing about Gold 120 made by Kodak is that they started switching everything to S-Star base. So the stuff that Lomo buys is on the older, thicker base, but they also buy from a
Oh,
master roll. If you look at like Ferrania's generic film they put out in the 90s, like drugstore film and stuff, those cartridges are the same look as lomography's metal cartridges, like black and
you
white
know,
and stuff.
that's such a good piece of info because I never thought about looking at the cartridges to see to like determine
Oh yeah.
manufacturer. So I've got a bunch of weird film rolls that I just like who manufactured this? I don't know.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, comparing it to other films from the same era that I do know who manufactured is a really great start.
And I
Um,
also, yeah, sorry.
no,
Okay.
I was gonna maybe go get some more of my film rolls and
Oh
start
yeah,
looking at
do
them
it, do
home.
it. Yeah, I'll wait.
Okay, hang on.
Okay, cool.
What manufacturers should I get? I've got
Um, if you have any Cinestill and any other
two
Harman
Cinestill.
Ilford stuff.
Okay. I do
Okay.
I have Ilford Color, which I know is made by, I think Innovus Coat is making
Oh
that one.
yeah. Oh yeah, go ahead and grab that because then we can like investigate the packaging.
Oh, I have Kentmere and I have an old original Wolfen canister. Okay,
Oh,
sick.
cool.
It's a good
Okay.
start.
This should be, yeah. This should be a good start. I might have
Oh
a
wait, Cinestill.
oh
Let me
yeah.
grab Cinestill too.
Okay, cool.
Quality, convenience, and price. You need any other reasons?
Right now, K&B will process a 12-exposure roll of 4x6 super prints for just $3.79. Plus, get an extra set for just 7 cents a print at your K&B drugstore, where quality pictures at a low price are personally yours.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh,
Those
yeah.
things.
No, it's cool because there's a lot of like film detectiving people can do, and just like if you just read the box, you would know better, and instead of just like spreading the misconception around freely.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like people who argue that Fuji's still around.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe not.
yeah, yeah,
I just bought a box of Fuji in America. What were you telling me this is Kodak?
yeah, yeah,
Probably is.
yeah.
Sorry.
So for this potentially audio only podcast, we're going to have a visual examination of film now. Okay, so do you have any boxes on you?
I have so many boxes on me.
Okay, especially Ilford is one of the things I noticed. This is editing, Jamie. I didn't convey this idea properly. This is me holding up two boxes. One is a box of Cinestill film, and the other is a box of Ilford black and white film produced by Harman. And I was showing the similarities, but I didn't convey that idea and instead just held them up like you could see them on an audio podcast. Anyway, you have like the standard Cinestill box here. And then if you look at the bottoms, they have identical fonts. They used to do better at this. They changed it a little bit, I think. But they're okay. The little symbol here, these little symbols, and then often the bold type and stuff, it's all the same. The stamps are similar. And of course, it looks completely different when I do this, but oh, here we go. Here's a good.
I've never looked inside of a film box for writing before.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
What's fun
none of
is
the ones have it.
the really old stuff has like huge folded up sheets of paper filled with information. Like you'd get like a whole 8x10 sheet of paper folded up in there with all kinds of information on it. Yeah.
I want that. My old boxes, the oldest one that I had was the Pros Did a Photo.
Oh
Got a
yeah.
bunch of these old like Montreal store brands. No matching cassettes so far. Although, wait, that was a lie.
Ooh.
This one matches. Oh my God. So this one matches the Ferenia cassettes.
Oh, interesting.
So the Ferenia cassettes are both we got Kentmere and Harman Phoenix, which are both the Harman Technologies products. They bought the Ferenia cassette manufacturing. So this one, which expired, when did this expire? Expired in like the 90s.
Oh wow.
That's made in Germany, is also made with a Ferenia cassette.
Interesting.
So this is probably EGFA then.
And you'll notice this is the Cinestill and the Ilford Harman film, both in identical black canisters. And if you look at the films themselves, like there's the finishing is the largest part. Like they just kind of are finished in very similar ways. Like the caps all look the same. I picked the absolute worst thing for identical film. Like that none of them are matching, but you can compare like the fonts. Like if you remember Ultrafine Extreme got killed by the pandemic, but it was basically theorized that it was just Kentmere, but they sold it in 120, so it was extra special because not only was it basically 120 Kentmere, but also it was like $4 a roll. And yeah, it was amazing. And but if you looked at the box was almost completely blank and white, except for the font on the bottom was identical to the stuff you see on the Harman Ilford boxes. And the thing is, like, Cinestill is Kodak film. They work on a Kodak campus. Like, if you look up their address, it shows up on the Kodak campus.
And it's like made in USA, right?
Yeah, it's made in Rochester, New York. Modified, I'm guessing, in Rochester most of the time, although I've heard maybe sometimes in LA, I think. But the packaging though is it's clearly finished by Harman. And the more you compare Cinestill and Harman products, except for occasionally you'll notice that 120 Cinestill comes in a not foil. Oh, the wrappers are another tell. Cinestill 120 wrappers are almost always identical to Harman 120 wrappers, the silver foil.
You gotta shoot more 120.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And so
you're totally right.
The screen printing on there is identical, but every now and then you'll see a Cinestill roll where it's in white paper, and the only other company that has white paper wrapping is FOMA. But also that extrapolating for, if Cinestill's clearly out for all of our money idea, extrapolating that, it's like, okay, well, they're based in LA, they buy film in New York, they get one of those coffins of film. Kodak doesn't finish it for them because that probably costs even more. It's cheaper for them to ship it to England to get finished and then shipped back to America as finished film. And people are like, oh yeah, I bought Reflex film for $8. And it's like, well, Reflex bought 1,000-foot canister and cut it up. And Cinestill bought a thing the size of an SUV and cut it up.
And then shipped it around the world 3 times.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to defend them necessarily. I'm not saying they're all perfect and doing everything right. But just if it cost a few bucks more than somebody who cut it up in their garage or something, maybe that's why. I just I understand like people on Reddit being upset about, oh, why is Cine still so expensive when Reflex is like so cheap?
Yeah, that's why I kind of abandoned my Cinestill video because there was like, I mean, there was a lot to say about their legal tactics,
Yeah.
obviously,
Oh yeah.
but then like the actual alternatives to Cinestill were also all a little bit dubious in
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
view.
And what bothers me,
And the ones that
sorry.
weren't dubious,
Yeah.
sorry, yeah, the ones that
Yeah.
weren't dubious were all ECN
Yeah.
process. So I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, well,
Yeah.
yeah, there wasn't like a ton, there wasn't a lot of meat on the bone after
Yeah.
picking that apart.
No, because I had trouble. It's like I don't like their strategy, what they did to handle that particular problem. But also, you see like the home manufacturers who use their own methods to clean the rim jet off, and then you shoot their film, and it's exactly identical to Cinestill back when they did that. And they sell, it's like, oh, we're cheaper than Cinestill, and it's the same price for 27 frames. It's like, no, it's more expensive.
Yeah, you get yeah, 10 fewer frames. Yeah, that's another thing is that it's 27 frames.
That drives me
Um,
crazy.
yeah, yeah, I actually got suckered into buying a Cinestill alternative recently that I found out after buying was ECN, and I should have checked that, and I didn't.
Mm.
And I was like, I bought a bunch of C41 films, and they were like, "Oh, here, this is a great Cinestill alternative." I was like, sick.
Hmm.
And yeah, I actually have not found a lab anywhere that
Oh,
I've traveled in the world that will develop
oh
ECN
no.
for me.
Oh, well,
Out of
I
luck.
know, like, I know him, so I like full disclosure, I guess. But Bill from Atlanta Film Company, he does repackaged motion picture film, but he
And he'll
over
develop it.
labels it, huh? What's
He'll
that?
develop it.
Yeah,
Well, he
he works alongside Dunwoody Photo in Atlanta, Georgia, and they actually send their ECN to Kodak in Atlanta. Like it runs through the same stuff as the motion picture things. It's pretty cool because like if you want your film developed identically to a movie, then that's how they do it.
That is really cool.
Yeah, and
That
it's
is
not
really
that
cool.
expensive either. It's pretty good price.
Well, at this point, I'd pay anything to get it
Oh
developed
yeah.
because it's been in my fridge for like a year,
Yeah,
literally a year at this point.
I'll send you a link to Dunwoody Photo because they'll do it and
Um, sorry, a little bit of a
oh no, no.
sidetrack here, but I realized that there's a magnet in my computer, like my laptop lid,
Oh.
and so now I can tell which of these canisters are made out of metal and which are
Oh.
plastic, and I have tested them all.
Oh no.
And it's interesting. I think, yeah, the AGFA, this one, and the other one that I would have expected to be AGFA, um, this old Orwo,
Oh
are
yeah.
in different canisters,
Hmm.
like
Yeah,
mine.
and it's so interesting too because like AGFA was so uh common at one point, and then there's late era AGFA, which is like Fuji, and then there's just so many different things, and then there's still something floating around as AGFA, and I forget who makes it. Rolly is another one that's made by supposedly by Harman because you look at their packaging, it looks like that, and it's just the underworld of secret film manufacturing.
Ilford actually collapsed in 2007 or
Yeah,
2004 or something.
yeah.
Um, and then all of their manufacturing facilities, which were like kind of scattered, were snapped up by different film companies. And one of the film companies that snapped them up was Harman Technology, which is like newly incorporated
Oh yeah.
by old Ilford employees. But the trademark for Ilford got snapped up by like this Japanese printer company.
Oh yeah.
So they had just licensed the Ilford brand to Harman,
Yeah.
who makes all of the Ilford products except Ilford Color, which is made by Innovascoat in Germany, who also uses old Ilford factories, doesn't have any license to use the, or sorry, doesn't have the rights to using the Ilford brand. So the people who actually
It's
own the Ilford brand don't make film; they make printers, and they just license this.
it's just such a wild world, like especially when you think of Alaris and Kodak, who makes all the film for Alaris, but Alaris has exclusive rights to Portra and Tri-X and all that stuff. And then you have Kodak making the film for Fuji right now, which is very clearly Kodak film. And it's like photography got put in a blender, and then we've got like the photography smoothie.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's like. Like trying to trace back, okay, well, what product is this? And it's like, oh, this is actually like a Frankenstein product that is coated one place, and the emulsion is based on this recipe from this other place,
Hmm.
and then it's finished in this other place, and the cassettes are made somewhere else.
Oh yeah.
Like, and it's all like all of these like old 80s brands that are now just have been repurposed.
Yeah.
And
And
I made a video recently, like a little short, talking about how there's only 3 film manufacturers left in the world
yeah.
or of
Oh
color
yeah.
film. And people were confused by that because if you look at like the packaging of color film,
Oh
it
yeah.
seems like there's quite a few manufacturers, but actually no, most of
Yeah.
these are made by the same people.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Especially I mean like over half of it's Kodak. Well over. And yeah,
Kodak,
Kodak.
Kodak,
Yep.
Kodak,
Kodak.
Kodak,
Kodak presents the color of life.
Innovascoat, Innovascoat, Harman.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, who made this?
That's why that's why the
Innovascoat.
Harmon thing was such a big deal. It's like it could be even worse. It could be like 4 grains in 4 different colors on a sheet of acetate.
I'll take it. It could be
Yeah,
potato color. I'll take it.
exactly,
I'll say
exactly.
good things about it. Although
Yeah,
honestly, I was pretty impressed with like my first roll of Harmon Phoenix like, blew
yeah,
me away.
yeah.
I think because the lab might have scanned it wrong,
Oh,
maybe.
interesting. Yeah,
Yeah, like the reds just look insane on it, and I feel like that's probably not as intended. I feel like the
oh
lab
yeah. I
scanned it
love
meant for
that. No,
Kodak,
my,
and
my reds I've gotten, and in most reds I've seen on look really good. Like I tell
it looked
people, it's like,
really good.
yeah, if they keep anything, if they can only keep one thing from this iteration, please keep the reds. There hasn't been a good red film since Kodachrome.
Yeah, yeah, I was like extremely impressed. And the blue tones, like
Yeah.
had one set where the background was like the color of my sweater, which
Oh
for
yeah.
listeners is like a cobalt blue. And it rendered the cobalt blue extremely
Oh
well.
wow.
But as soon as I like underexposed it by like just a little tiny bit, it
Yeah.
lost all color whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah.
It like
It's
overexposed and underexposed.
yeah. It's a very thin range you can hit, but if you can hit that range, it's really nice. So I'm excited for him
Yeah,
to
that was totally
continue.
my experience.
Also, I was on Instagram the other day, and Harmon actually liked a comment I made on their thing. It's like, now I'm excited for 120. And it's like, yeah, I
Nice.
think,
Oh, they like that.
yeah, it's like, okay,
Exciting.
maybe they're gonna do it that soon because they
I
can
hope
finish
so.
120. They can do it. It's easy. They finish
Yeah,
color
they have the
120 all the
cassettes
time.
for it.
Yeah.
Ah,
So,
I'm excited to see how this roll turns out. I've been souping it. I'll do a little promo here. I
oh yeah.
souped this with dyes from Almost Urban Fiberworks. It's
Oh,
like this natural handmade textile company.
oh wow.
And she lent me some dyes. So we put
Cool.
this in cochineal and not indigo. There was another red one and soaked it for like 15 minutes in both and then left it in a solution of lemon juice, soap, and water.
Cool.
And then now it's been in rice ever since,
Oh,
like a
nice.
month ago.
Yeah.
So the lab says that it needs to be in rice for like at least 3 weeks before they'll take it. And I'm like,
Wow.
that's fair.
Yeah.
So they are going to develop it though, which is very exciting. I have no idea if it even survived,
That is
but I'm
cool.
excited to see.
Yeah, I really want to see that. So there are 2 things from okay, I want to mention first that the what the film thing. I like that the what the film thing has made people think about like what makes the films different. And I think that's going to do even more with the color one and
I
how
can't wait for the color one.
oh yeah. Yeah, I was excited to get briefly a top 10 on the black and white.
I did so bad in the black. I only shoot Ilford
Oh
and
yeah.
Rolly. So if it wasn't Ilford or Rolly, I was like, I
It's
don't know.
really the last 5 years of my life, maybe that I could see any difference between any black and white film, but I see it now. It just takes time for you to use enough and to use different developers and everything like that.
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
having that hands-on darkroom side of things would probably
Oh yeah.
get you like thinking about it a little bit more, right?
Yeah. And do you know when the color one is gonna launch?
I wish I had answers for you. I'd like it to be soon, but realistically it'll probably be after I'm back from Japan.
Okay.
Um, so like course, I don't have anything to do with the actual writing of the game, so you might
Oh,
happen before that. But if we're going to record another collab, I think it'll be early March.
cool.
But I'd like to advocate for it because I think that'd be a lot of fun,
Oh yeah, yeah, and
and
I
I'll
think
hopefully do better.
oh yeah, this is all training. I think this is like ninja training or something. Yeah,
That's
uh,
that's kind of how I was thinking of it, especially like afterwards, going over it again and again and again, and being
yeah.
like, okay, shadows, okay, grain structure. Like,
There's like okay, there's HP5 grain and Tri-X grain, and they're both grainy, but there's different types of grainy. And the other thing I was going to
my
mention is
intuition doesn't work. Sorry.
no, that's fine. The other thing I wanted to mention is maybe because I've got a community dark room I'm building. This is the computer lab that's in very rough shape right now because I'm working on the plumbing in the printing labs. So a big thing I'm doing is like teaching people how to develop film and all that stuff and giving them a space to do it. So I think it would be cool if we keep doing a couple of these to see how they go, is to do like walking you through your first development session.
That would be really fun. I would be 100% down.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds, it's like so scary. Like you sent me a bunch of resources and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm ready for this, man. Like I can do this. And then I went
Oh
into
yeah.
Bow Photo and I stared at like the wall of developers and I was like, another
Mm,
time, another time.
yeah, yeah. And they
That's
all
another
like
time.
and they're like, oh, mix it 4-1, 8-1, 31-1. And it's like, I'm not great at math, but there are ways to get around the math because other people do the math for you.
Nice. That would
Yeah.
be nice.
Yeah. So it's actually really easy. And I just pick out things that work for me. And I don't develop black and white a ton. So like if I mix something like D76 that goes bad in 3 weeks, it'll go bad before I get 3 rolls done. But they have HC110 and Rodinol and stuff that can sit around for years.
Similar stories about sealed wine in old
Oh
tombs,
yeah.
and they open it up and it's like perfectly aged.
Yeah, they're gonna do that. It's like this HC110 is still perfectly syrupy. It's a little brown, but
Perfectly aged Rodinol. Beautiful.
yeah,
Rodinol Blanc.
yes. Oh, if
Well,
only
that
we
would be
had.
really exciting, actually. I
Yeah.
would I would really appreciate that.
Okay,
Um,
cool.
both the free knowledge and I mean the free knowledge
Oh yeah. And I was
and the
thinking it's
experience.
like because I've got these like big sinks and stuff. I'm like I always think it's like, oh, you see a video of somebody developing film. It's like you're in a big sink. It's like, well, I've got a kitchen sink. What am I gonna do? So there's a little kitchenette here that has a little stainless steel sink. I'm like,
Oh,
what if
good.
I just
Okay.
developed a roll of film there to show how to do it at home? Because
That
I
would be a good
developed,
video too.
yeah, I think that would be
I think
it'd
really
be a fun
useful.
like collab thing. And
Yeah.
and then I'm like, look, I've got these big sinks with temperature control and filters, but I'm gonna do this right here in the little kitchenette sink to prove it's not that hard.
No, I super appreciate that. That'd be actually super dope. And then
Okay.
I can ask questions that hopefully other people watching will
Yeah,
ask as well.
definitely. Because I think it's cool because like you're into it, you know plenty about taking photos, you've seen plenty of developed film. You just haven't done it because that's just not something that people get easy access to anymore.
If this is allowed to go on, this is not a society. This is anarchy!
Until maybe next time, we'll see. At least you can find me at Jamie M Photo. That's JAMIE M Photo. I'll actually have it if we have show notes or whatever. It'll be in there. It's a lot easier. Or Piney Woods Darkroom is my darkroom.
And I am Y Hanson Photography. That's Y as in like the letter Y. HANSON_photography. You can find me on many social media platforms under that handle.
Awesome. Well, thanks for talking. Hopefully this was fun. I think I had fun. And
I certainly did. I had a lot of fun. Thank you.
all
Pete.
right, you're welcome. And we'll see. I'll see you, and we'll see everyone else or hear everyone else later.
Sounds
Bye.
good. Thank you guys for watching. To anybody who was.
And I'll add in some like Mike Gutterman free music or something like that. And,
Perfect.
make it
Yeah,
fun.
I mean, if you want if you want a hand, I can do graphics or whatever you need.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah.
Something, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you. That was fun.
Yeah, thanks. That was fun. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah.
Thanks for taking the time to sit down with me and have a chat.
Oh yeah. Well, thank you. It was good to chat. It's always fun to talk shop, but it's also fun to talk shop with, other people.
With Super Prints, the big ones, I get a free album.